as Irving Leonard pointed out years ago in his admirable study, Books of the Brave, first published in 1949. The number of persons inspired by chivalrous novels to go and seek their fortunes in the New World is considerable. Antonio Pigafetta, the Italian chronicler of Magellan's journey around the world, declared, "When I was in Spain in 1509, certain people whom I met, and several books which I read, revealed to me the marvels of the ocean sea, and there and then I resolved to see such marvels with my own eyes." The reflections on this subject of the German Philipp von Hutten are quoted in this book's immediate predecessor, The Golden Age. "I could not die in peace without having seen the Indies." Bernal Díaz del Castillo, who came from Medina del Campo in Castile, wrote in Historia Verdaderera de la Conquista de la Nueva España that he thought a distant sight of Mexico, Tenochtitlan, reminded him of a depiction he remembered from the marvellously successful novel Amadis de Gaula, which is a little odd since there are no scenes of great cities in Amadis that I can find. But Bernal Díaz differs, and it is worth recalling that he must have known the author, or rewriter, of Amadis. Garci Rodriguez de Montalva was a councillor, regidor, in Medina del Campo, as was Díaz's father. Díaz's famous chronicle, like Montalvo's Amadis, was characteristic of the age and would not have been thought of 100 years earlier. For the European 16th century had yielded one surprising innovation from which much of the rest of its history flowed. That was printing, and the possibility of the widespread dissemination of both texts and copies of pictures. Reading became transformed from being the privilege of a small elite, able to afford handwritten copies, to something which most educated people could access by way of printed pamphlets and books. The effect was similar to the achievement of the radio in the 20th century in widening the appreciation of music. In Spain, the new era began with such novels as Joanot Martorell and Martí Joan de Galba's Tirán lo Blanc, published in 1940 in Valencia, and Amadis de Gaula, whose first identifiable publication was in Saragossa in 1508. With these works, a wide public awoke to the realization that a book could also be a means of entertainment. In this new world, people looked at the chivalrous novel as a sort of modern-day tourist guide, beyond the next cape. Sergas de Esplandian might have suggested, in the book of that name, there were sure to be Amazons. These chivalrous novels influenced behavior in many ways. Fernando de Avalos, Marquis of Pescara in Italy, the husband of Michelangelo's friend Vittoria Colonna, read many chivalrous novels in his youth before embarking on his own valiant career. Saint Ignatius Loyola, founder of the Jesuit order, was accustomed to read those vain treatises to relieve the boredom during his recovery in 1522 from a broken leg at the siege of Pamplona. Equally, Saint Teresa of Avila describes how she fell into the habit of reading them, chivalrous novels, and it seemed that it was not wrong to spend many hours of the day and nights in such vain exercise, though concealed from my father. I became so utterly absorbed in this that if I did not have a new book, I did not feel I could be happy. Surely this reading influenced Saint Teresa's own life and her own book. El Castillo Interior o las Moradas, The Castle of the Soul. Irving Leonard recalls a priest who not only knew of the deeds of Amadis and other heroes, but believed that they were true merely because he had seen them in print. The conquest of the Americas also appeared to have been in some ways the last crusade. The role of the Catholic Church in the unfolding of this great drama